Germs were an American hardcore punk band from LA. They existed from 1976 to 1980 initially. They released one album after a few other recordings that were less than album length, which is considered to be one of the first hardcore punk albums. By the time they recorded it, they'd learned to play their instruments somewhat. In the very early days, there were noise, swearing, stage antics, and peanut butter. This is a bit unfair because their guitarist, Pat Smear, could play before they started. They gained a cult following and a reputation, and even in their short existence, managed to go through 2 bassists and 8 drummers. Shortly after they disbanded, their lead singer and lyricist Darby crashed his own life with a deliberate drug overdose. Fast forward over 25 years later, in 2006, biopic was made about them, and an actor, Shane West, played Crash Darby. And then the band reformed with West as their new frontman, and they did a 4-year stint with a brief rebanding in 2013, but no new studio albums. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of the album Brackets GI Bracket by Germs, which was released in 1979 and was their only album, and it's my first time listening to it. And I'm going to pigeonhole this as hardcore punk, and I'm not the only person who has done so. It's fast, it's very aggressive, and the overall feel is like a growly scream, and it's instantly recognizable to me as hardcore punk. So I'm not a huge punk fan. Even I have heard of Germs, despite the fact that they've, as in not just the Microbes, despite the fact that there's only one album that they produced. So what I always do, or almost always do, pretty much invariably, is I do a listen, then I do a read, and then I do a listen. So I get one listen to an album which is as uninformed as I can possibly get, depending on whether I know it before, if I know anything about the band, and then I get a second listen where I've got more information. I can listen to it more in context, usually. And after I'd done some reading about them, I got a bit intrigued by Germs as a band and got curious. So I went and found a couple of videos of them playing live. And they really were just a wall of noise with some notes and quite a bit of thrashing going on. They're roughly in time, but this is more musical than those live things. It is musical, it's got overdriven, scrapey guitar. It's got bass and drums. The guitarist is easily the most competent of them. They're roughly in time, and sometimes the bass and the guitar are obviously in tune and in the same key even. I'm not sure that the singing could ever be said to be. And the singing is pushing it in terms of the description. It's almost incoherent. Apparently he was considered a bit of a wordsmith. Compared with the live things that I listened to, actually you can make some of the words out in the recordings better than you can live, when it is just almost wordless stuff. He apparently had a habit of substance abuse before going on stage, and this, I wouldn't have disagreed that he looked like he might well have been not as stable on his legs as everybody could be. So apparently, as I was saying, apparently he's considered a bit of a wordsmith. I'm not convinced, but maybe that's just in the context of hardcore punk. So I didn't like it. It felt a bit like having my ears shredded with a cheese grater, I have to say. I respect the energy of it, but that's about it. That's about all that I could say as a positive thing about this. I'd say if you like hardcore punk, you probably already love this album. If you like raw and energetic stuff, then do try it. You might like it. If you prefer your music to be actually musical rather than focused on a kind of punk zeitgeist, anti everything nihilism, because punk was more of a social movement than a musical innovation, then uh, uh, you might love this. But I didn't. And I might be upsetting people by saying this, because some people will hold this as being some kind of, sacrosanct thing that is part of the zeitgeist and part of the core mythology of punk. Um, and I'm going to, kick against that and say, sorry, I just don't like it. And then I'm going to say that attitude of, I don't care what you think, I just don't like it, is a very punk attitude. So I'm going to stick with my attitude. Thank you very much. So it's not for me. But that is just my opinion, I have to say. And there are people who will love this. And if you're one of those, do share what you think of this album. Do share your thoughts, your memories, even. I'm sure there'll be some people with a huge amount of nostalgia for this album. I'd love to know what you think of the review, what you think of the album, what you think of Germs, what you think of my channel, anything like that. Please leave me a comment. But that's it from me for now.